Hello everyone, this is Fawaz. In this video, I'm going to talk about my assignment that I have been working on for the past week. This assignment is about covering an American class. In this assignment, I have covered 5 American classes. Each took me from 7 to 8 minutes. Each class was different. And different classes in different times. Actually, after attending these 5 classes, I realized that there's no big difference between American classes and Saudi classes except for one or two things. One thing, sorry, not two. I think the first is that the language, because in Saudi Arabia most of the classes are taught in Arabic, while here it is in English. In spite of the separation in the gender, because in Saudi Arabia the girls study in one building while the guys study in another. So I'm going to start with my classes. The first class was physics. This physics class was 80% lecturing and 20% discussion. The topic that was covered in this class is the mass of the heat and how can you calculate it through heat. What role did the professor play and what he or she exactly did? The professor was standing the whole time pointing at his projector and explaining the lesson. What role did the students play? They were only copying, no questions, no interacting with the teacher at all. Do students interact? As I mentioned, they didn't interact at all. My prediction to this class is 80% lecturing, 20% discussing. And the role the teacher should have played is explaining while asking some questions to the students, because asking questions about the topic he's explaining about would be an efficacious way to get the student alert to what he's saying and get them involved in his lesson. And what role should the students play? I say asking more questions while interacting with the professor. Do students interact only with the teacher? Yes, they shouldn't interact with each other because he's the only one that knows about this material and the topic he's talking about. My second class is geology. This geology class was 70% lecturing while 30% discussing. It was about features and types of rocks. The role the professor played was standing, explaining while asking some questions as well as interacting with the students. The role the students played was answering the questions the professor asked and interact with him as well as with each other, which I really liked for this class because it is a free class where they interacted, talked, as well as observed on the lesson. Do students interact only with the teacher or with each other too? They interacted with the teacher as well as with each other, discussing about the topic they were talking about. My prediction to this class is 60% lecturing while 40% discussing. I think my prediction is pretty the same as my survey, except for the percentage of discussion and lecturing which I have mentioned. The rest is pretty the same. This class was just perfect, I can say, except for the lecturing and discussion. My third class is LA culture. This class was 90% lecturing and 10% discussion. The role the professor had played was she was standing pointing on the projector while asking some questions and interacting with the students, asking about their different cultures. And the topic was about appointments and respect of time for different cultures. The students' role was they were listening to the teacher while she was explaining, and they were interacting with her as well. Do students interact with the teacher or also with each other? Why or why not? They interacted with each other as well as with the teacher because they were talking about their cultures, giving ideas about their cultures and their home countries. My prediction about this class is 50% lecturing and 50% discussion. The role the teacher should have played is uh, discussing the entire class while interacting with the students through questions about their culture in order to get them the full idea about the topic they're talking about. What role did the students play and what exactly should they do? The same as they did, asking questions, interacting with each others, as well as one thing which they didn't do is writing down the information the teacher is talking about. Do students interact only with the teacher or should they interact with each other too? Both. Students should interact with the teacher as well as with each other in order to give and get information about others and their culture. My fourth class is math. This math class was 95% lecturing and 5% discussing. The topic that was covered in this class is the circle and the midpoint. The role the teacher played was writing on the board and asking some little questions which were on my time that I was there, which is 7 minutes. He asked two questions or even one. What role did the students play? They were copying fast behind the teacher, and as I mentioned, only one, I think, student has asked him one question. Do students interact only with the teacher or also with each other? They interacted with the teacher with only this one question. My prediction about this class is 90% lecturing and 10% discussion. The role the teacher should have played was the same as he done, but also plus he should have asked questions to the students. And the role the students should have played the same as they done also, but also plus of that they should have asked the teacher some questions and interacted with them. Should the students interact only with the teacher? Yes, only with the teacher, not with each other, because the time is limited and the only one who knows about this topic and in general is the teacher. So talking with each other wouldn't be a good thing to do. My last class that I have covered is English. This English class was 60% lecturing and 40% discussion. The topic was about a novel that I didn't know about its name. The role the teacher played was he was reading and going around the class while asking some random questions to the to on the middle of the reading while to the students. What role did the students play? Some were copying and the other were observing after the teacher and answering some questions. Were the students interacting with each other? They all interacted together because they were discussing about a reason for an action in this novel. My prediction to this class is 50% lecturing and 50% discussing. The teacher should have played a role where he talked with students and explained more about the novel he's reading. And the role the students should have played is copying about the teacher while asking some questions. Do students interact only with the teacher or also with each other? Why or why not? They should have interacted with each other as well as with the teacher to give and get ideas, because it was a general novel and they can give and get ideas. At the end, after I covered these five classes, and after uh, I have mentioned that my home country, that there is no big difference between us and between like uh, a paradox between American classes and Saudi classes. As I have mentioned, was the separation of the gender in two different buildings. And that's it. That's my assignment for this week. Thank you.